Joan and I are going to bond in this Savvy Quilter segment. Appli-bond, that is. So Joan, what exactly is appli-bonding?
Gina, Appli-bond is taking two pieces of fabric and fusing them together, but you have to use heat and bond ultra hold. You have to use a bonding agent as opposed to a fusible so that you won't get fraying. You take the kind of fabrics that I like to use are the tone-on-tones, the hand-dyeds, or the beautiful batiks. Once you've selected your fabrics, there are three ways to put them together. You can put them together the traditional way, which would be putting wrong sides together. That way your flower is the same color on both sides. Or you could do right side, wrong side, which then gives you a little variation, which is the way cut flowers actually look in nature. Another way to do it would be to take an entirely different fabric, and that way you really have some freedom to play with it. So to bond, all you do is take your fabric and you take the glue side of the bonding material and you place it on your fabric. You would iron it on there, and I set my iron on a hot iron. It's on cotton to get a really good bond. I would then take my paper and take it off, and once I have taken it off, this is what it looks like, and this is why I don't get any fraying, because you can see all of the pieces have been fused together. I then would take a second piece of fabric and I would iron it right onto that one, and I wind up with a sandwich. It's really two pieces of fabric that are glued together. Once that is done, all I have to do is to take my template and I place it on my bonded fabric, and then I can trace on here and cut it out just like it's paper dolls. There's no seam allowance when you're doing Appli-bond. After I've cut out my pieces, I need 2 large, 2 medium, and 1 small in order to make this rose. With regular applique, you have to trace your whole pattern onto your background. But with my technique, all I have to do is place where the stem is, and I just do a little V where the leaves are, because I'm going to have a finished leaf in my hand. I just have to place it down. But it is important that I use a blue water soluble pen when I'm doing my marking, because unlike regular applique, my pieces are going to lift up. And if I don't mark them with something that I'm sure I can get rid of, you're going to see my markings. I then would put my stem on, and as you can see, I have my leaves ready.
There they are. Now, how do you attach the leaves to the project? With what kind of stitching?
Right. Well, the leaves are going to be bonded the same way that the rose is bonded. So my fabric is all bonded together, but it's really quite stiff to go through. So I use my needles, which are called Appli-bond needles. They really have 3 cutting edges and easily pierce the bonded fabric. I attach them with a stem stitch with 2 strands of embroidery floss.
Now, how are we going to make the rose?
This is the fun part, Gina. Once the fabrics are all bonded and cut out, then we have to shape them. So I just take each individual petal, and with my iron, I heat it, and when it's hot, I just have to wrap it back over my finger and hold it till it's cool. Because what I've done is I've melted the fabric, I've shaped the fabric, and now the fabric is hardening. And once it's hardened, it's a miracle. It just stays just like that. So I have bonded that to all of my pieces, and now I just put them together so that they're opposing each other. And you really need to use a little bit of glue to tack these in place at this point, because they always want to nest and go right back on top of each other. Once you've got them positioned like this, all you have to do is do 5 little French knots in the center, attaching it to the background, and you have your finished rose. Another way to use this would be to take this assembled rose, put a little pin on the back, and you have a corsage to wear.
How beautiful. What a wonderful technique, Joan. Thanks for showing it to us. It looks like it's relatively easy for beginners as well.
That's right, and it's wonderful for experts because they can design with this technique.
Thanks, Joan.